Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. If you like today's show, please click like and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Speaking of subscribers, thanks for all the people coming on board the Just Whiskey ship. Much appreciated. And consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. A quick adjustment of the camera. No damage done. All right. Today we're going to be talking about Octomore 10.2. As you can see, and for full transparency, this is a sealed bottle. This is a sample of the Octomore 10.2, but this is my second bottle of 10.2. This came out in 2019, and well over a year ago, 2 years ago, I polished off a whole bottle of Octomore 10.2. And at the time, I thought it was in my top 3 whiskeys, peated whiskeys, of all time. So, Octomore 10.2, an older Corey Reckon from Ardbeg, and the Lacheg 10. All right, stay tuned while we get our feathers wet here. All right, Octomore made an Isla, Bruichladdich makes it, heavily peated, non-chill filtered, no coloring added. 10.2 was a travel retail exclusive, but they make their way into the retail market. 24,000 bottles were made of this. Comes in at 56.9%. And with this, as with probably all of the Octomores, but I'm only referencing this 10.2. Everyone thinks that they're super heavily peated, but they make reference to the ppm level is a pre-distillation ppm level. It is what they measure the ppm from the malted barley prior to distillation. And this 10.2, the pre-distillation ppm, was 96.9. They do not tell you what the residual ppm is. If I was to guess, I would say it's well south of 50. Probably between 35 and 50 ppm, in my opinion. All right, this 10.2 came out in 2019. It is 8 years old, which is older than many of the other Octomores. Most of the other Octomores are 5 years or younger. Some of the .4s, which use virgin oak, can be as young as 3 years. This particular one was aged 4 years in ex-bourbon and 4 years in Sauternes wine barrels. And prior to them being put into a second maturation, the Sauternes casks were filled 3 times by the winery prior to getting to Octomore. And so the Sauternes is a sweet red wine, French sweet wine. So I hope that's clear. The barley is 100% Scottish grown Optic and Oxbridge barley. This particular bottle is a 700 milliliter bottle. The first bottle that I bought back in 2019 or early 2020 at the very latest was a 750 milliliter. I paid about $250 US for that. then after that, I liked it so much that I bought this bottle through the Netherlands, and I paid between 125 and 150 euros for it. I believe it was closer to 125 euros. Um, so here we are with the smelling and tasting. On the nose, you get a rich peat, a hint of that farmyard, barnyard hay. Some people might call it manure, some people might call it wet grass or a funk. Just a little hint of that in there. A little bit of vanilla, and the peatiness, the barbecue peatiness of it camouflages the stone fruits that are buried in there on the palate. Wow. Wow. This just explodes in your mouth. This is a very complex dram. This needs time in the glass, a lot of time in the glass. Either leave it open or put a cap on it. Leave it out as long as you can. Same thing with the bottle. My past experience, let it oxidize a little bit. Give this time and patience, and you will be rewarded. So the palate, the peat has formed the outer blanket, and then your inner palate, you're getting the sweet, silky, little bit of medicinal note, mint, stone fruits, but the stone fruits are a little suppressed, but they are in there. A little barbecue, a little ash. It is a beautiful dram. It's sticky, it's syrupy, it's very viscous. You have a very well balanced, integrated, I won't say it again, oak spiciness about it, but it's not prominent or dominant. That little hint of oak spice, that little teeny bite, little cinnamon, very smooth. You can add water. I wouldn't recommend water. This they're using great casks, and this 56.9 is just very, very, very drinkable. The finish is medium long, but that, of course, that smoky, peaty ash lingers for quite a while. And again, I remember I cracked this about the same time that I cracked an Ardbeg Corey Reckon. That Corey Reckon was probably, maybe a 2017 bottling, maybe a 2018 bottling. And I remember thinking, wow, $250 for this, or a bottle of Corey Reckon for about $75 or $80. And then Lacheg 10 at $50 to $60. So I'm just throwing all that information out there. As far as Octomores that I've tried and reviewed the 7.4, which is a virgin oak, and I believe that was around 3 years old. It didn't knock my socks off. really wasn't my cup of tea, but you can search for that review to take a look at that. I have lots of backup unopened Octomore bottles. I have a 7.3. I have a 10.3, a 10.4. I've tried and have backup bottles of the 9.1 and the 9.3. And I also have a 10-year Bruichladdich Octomore that I have not opened. Is it worth $250? I think if you're on a whiskey journey and you're into heavily peated scotches, I think once in your life you should try one. Try a 0.1, a 0.3. The 0.4s, I've only had one, but those lean more towards the virgin oak. That's a little bit of a different animal. If you're going to try one, my opinion, try a 0.1, a 0.2, or a 0.3. Buy one bottle if you can afford it, and then you can say, okay, I've experienced the Octomore, and you can decide whether you want to continue on that journey or not. What am I going to give this for a score? Out of the Octomores that I've tried, this is my favorite. And with the exception of the older Ardbeg Corey Reckon, this still wins out over that. Very close though. The newer Corey Reckon, in my opinion, maybe it's just a different batch variation, doesn't stand up to the one I had 2 or 3 years ago. Lechaig 10, I prefer the older bottlings, but that could just be batch variation as well. And there definitely is batch variation with Lechaig 10. All right, enough chatting. This Octomore 10.2, I really enjoy it. And I will confidently rate this between a 90 and a 92. Let it open it up, give it time, and you will be rewarded, as you should, for the money you're going to pay for this. All right, that's it. Hope you liked today's show. Please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon. And Merry Christmas, and check out Whiskey Lock's Advent Calendar. He's doing a great job. All right, all the best to everyone. Hats off to you all. Take care. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.